Hello, Denise.
Hey, Jean. It's a beautiful
Hey,
day.
it is. As we dive deeper into this month's topic, we're still talking about the importance of self-care and reaching your personal goals. But also, you're going to take it a step deeper and talk about setting and achieving those personal goals.
Yes, we all have goals that we want to reach. And self-care is such a big piece of that, as we talked about in our last segment. Um, but I also think, and we touched on this like very, very quickly about having a plan. I love to use this concept that I came up with a couple of years ago called the three Ps: plan, prioritize, and prepare. And it's so important because it really is a three-step system. And what happens more often than not, people say, they set a goal, this is the goal that I want to achieve, but they don't write it down. This is in their head, or they say it out loud, but they don't write it down. And they don't have a lot of, like, there's not a lot of meat behind it. I have this goal. How are you going to reach it? What are you going to do in order to reach it? What are you going to do when you come up with, obstacles? So the planning phase of reaching personal goals, and it doesn't have to be, big, elaborate plan, but there has to be some steps. There has to be some thought behind it. So number one, what is your plan, or what is your goal? What do you want? Why do you want it? Um, and then I think it's really important to kind of write down a few actionable steps. I want to lose 20 pounds. What's the first thing you need to do? You need to go to the supermarket and, buy healthy, nutritious whole foods. I need to go through my pantry.
Oh,
Just
I have
little
to
things like
revise
that.
this one for a second. The first thing that you need to do is to call Denise.
Yes. First thing you do is call Denise. I love it. Thanks, Steve.
And then you go grocery shopping.
And then we go grocery shop. We could do that together. We could do that online. But again, it's so important to have these ideas, these actionable steps, because without them, we're just kind of going. It's like, if you don't have a plan, kind of like if you have a car and you have a map, that's great. But if you don't know where you're going, doesn't matter. You have, the plan is what makes the map important. So again, with the plan, whatever the plan is, whatever those steps are, and they'll be different for each goal you're trying to set. Additionally, with this, and this piece is why I think this is really important, is to set this plan, is nothing is perfect in this world, right? You're going to come up against some kind of obstacle. If it's a weight loss goal, there's going to be a wedding or a party or whatever, and you have to, manage that. So what do you do? Do you just show up at the party and go, well, shoot, there's all this stuff that none of it's all fried and it really doesn't fit with what I'm trying to do with my goals? If you had a plan, if you thought about it ahead of time, you wouldn't be uncomfortable. You would go into that event thinking, I got this. Maybe I had an apple before, so I've got, I'm full, I've got fiber and all those yummy things that, in my tummy. And so the fried food's not going to knock my socks off like it might if I was starving. So obstacles, understanding what they may be, and just identifying, okay, so this could be a roadblock, this could be an obstacle. What are we going to do? What's the proactive plan to overcome that, sidestep it, whatever it may be? And that actually increases, one, your adaptability. We have to be adaptable in this world. We don't want to be so rigid, which is why I do not believe in diets, because they're so rigid and restrictive that there's no adaptability there. If you're following a, completely, say, vegan diet, and for whatever reason, if you love it or because somebody told you should, and then you go to a steakhouse, it's kind of hard. Yes, you can find stuff at the steakhouse to eat, but you're not going to really enjoy that situation. If it's something that you're just
But if you had prepared, if you had set your head in the right spot and you had prepared beforehand and know that that wasn't, you're going to that place to meet with people not to have the dining experience of your life, your head's in the right place.
Exactly. And that's where the prioritizing piece comes in. Thank you. Exactly. It's not always about, and I know we talk about food and weight loss and stuff a lot, and longevity. It's what I talk about. It's what I know. But prioritizing in this manner, like if you're going to the steakhouse, exactly. It's about the connection. It's about the people. It's about the experience. Yes, we want to enjoy the foods that we eat, but it doesn't have to be like have all be all. Each meal isn't your last meal, right? And if you're going to a restaurant that doesn't quite fit your goal, eat beforehand. You can go to just about any restaurant and get a salad. There's something on the menu you can find. So you're not sitting there the only person not eating, right? So prioritizing is so, so important because it actually helps us focus on those high impact things. And so again, 9 days out of 10, this is what you're doing. The one day we're going to go to that restaurant, So again, those high
and you don't have that. Yeah, you don't have that thought of, well, there's nothing here for me, so I have to.
Exactly.
Instead, you're saying, well, I'm glad I prepared beforehand because it doesn't matter.
Right. Exactly. It doesn't matter in that respect. So when we're prioritizing, we can actually determine which steps are the most important to us. And they really do have to align with our values and our priorities. Obviously, that's something that, when you're coming up with when you have a goal, it has to align with who you are. For me, I know my limitations. A goal for me would not be, swimming, an Ironman. Okay, that would not be it. I could do the run part, I could do the bike part. I'm not getting into ocean with sharks. Sorry, I've seen this not happening. So again, that would not be a goal for me. So it does have to align with who you are and what your priorities
If we had more time, I'd love to play around with that one a little bit.
Well, that'll be another conversation.
Never mind. The ocean part.
And again, this is something, this is long term. When, I think it's so important to remember that when we're prioritizing our personal goals, this is something that, is long term. It's not one of these things you don't want to have to check the box. Oh, I did that and you're done. Most personal goals are things that we reach and then we grow on, we build on. And I think that's an important part of when we prioritize things. Again, it keeps us motivated, it keeps us committed. And again, when it comes to managing your calendar, I love calendar management. When you're prioritized, your events are prioritized or your tasks are prioritized, you're not stressed out because you plot them on your calendar. I love to plot things on the calendar. And you're not overwhelmed because it's there. The task. And maybe you're doing a task a day. Maybe you're doing a task a month or a week. Once it's on the calendar, you've prioritized it. You've prioritized it in your day. You've prioritized it in your heart and in your mind.
So, and it's not a surprise.
Exactly. And it's not, oh, shoot, how am I going to fit that in? And so the last step of this is preparing. And people always say to me, well, shouldn't you be doing that before? No, you have to have the plan. What is the plan? What is it that you want? Then you need to kind of prioritize, okay, this is more important than this. But then the preparation piece, this is really important. And people forget this all the time. Do you have the necessary skills and knowledge to reach that goal? Do you need to take a class? Do you need some additional education? Do you need a trainer? Do you need to work with a coach? What type of skills do you have? And who do you need or what do you need help on to help build onto that? Because without that, all the planning and prioritizing in the world goes out the window if you're not prepared to do it, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally. The other piece two other pieces of the preparation, and I think this part is really important, is building that supportive environment. And this is, again, where, we talk about connection quite a bit throughout our conversations. And this is where the connection can really help. Whether that supportive environment is your best friend, your spouse, joining like a track team or a running team or a pickleball team, whatever it may be. Surrounding yourself with people who are going to encourage you and support you is so important. We do it with our professional lives. We seek mentors. We have accountability partners in our businesses. Why can't we do that with our personal goals? We absolutely can. And that to me is such a big piece of self-care, because you're connecting to people. You're looking for support, and that helps you mentally and emotionally. And sometimes when it comes to self-care, that's what we need. We need that support. We need someone to say, be our cheerleader and be like, yes, you can do this. Yeah, that's self-care. Yeah, having that supportive environment.
I think that last point is probably the most important of all of them, because creating that community or that team of people or that will help you hold accountable. But what's actually happening is, yes, they're encouraging you, but what happens too that you don't realize is that you're encouraging them. And your success or your consistent application of whatever you're doing is actually going to positively affect them as well as you. So it is a full circle of support.
I absolutely agree. And so important. And in this day and age, we spend so much time alone, whether, we're in our offices, we're doing lots of Zoom calls. That type of connection, that type of support is so important and so useful. Always has been, but I think in this day and age, it is so important that we seek that out. And I guess the last thing I would just say when it comes to that preparation is to establish those routines and habits. And again, that's kind of where that calendar management comes in. What is the routine? I get up in the morning, I start my workout at 7:30, most mornings. The mornings that I know I have something before 10 a.m., then I move my workout to a different time of the day. So those are things that, one, self-care, absolutely, because you're getting in your workout or your relaxation time, whatever it may be. And then easily after a while, those, routines become habit, and things
and they become a
much
non-negotiable because it
Absolutely.
is what you need.
They do. And the beautiful thing, when you have these routines established, these habits established, there's no decision fatigue anymore. To me, that is number one when it comes to self-care. I don't have to be making decisions every minute of every day, because I've already planned, I've already prioritized, and I'm prepared for what I'm doing. Life is good.
Thank you, Denise. Plan, prioritize, prepare.
For self-care.
Hello, everyone. This is Jean Gallagher, Discover Rising Tides, and I want to just take a moment to talk about my friend, Denise Stegall. I am honored to call her as a friend, and I'm so grateful that she gives us her insight during our shows, each show, and talks about healthy living, eating real food. You hear Denise say, eat real food a lot. Well, she means it, and she knows what she's talking about. She is an amazing healthy living coach, curator at Living Healthy List. And if you ever have any questions about what is real food, why does it matter? How does that apply to me? How do I change? What do I need to do? How do I even create a healthy living shopping list? Make sure that you call her. She is your healthy living coach, and you can find her at healthylivinglist.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. My name is Jean Gallagher, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest today, Barbara Wainwright. Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so great. Thank you very much for asking. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk with you too. And so before we get started, can you give everybody a little bit of your bio, and then we'll jump in?
Sure. I'll just give the recent update because I got a lot of years here. So
Yeah, and then we'll dive into the other stuff.
okay. So I have been training and certifying life coaches since 2006. It is my passion. And over the years that I've been doing this, I have got 3 books out on Amazon about coaching. I've got a couple free downloads on my website about coaching. And like I said, I've trained over 6,000 coaches. So clearly I have a passion for it. I love what I do. I feel so honored to meet the most amazing people that want to turn around and help other people. It's a wonderful, I'll say a wonderful gig.
So yeah, I definitely want to dive into that. But before we get there, let's talk about what happened before 2006, because the trajectory it's different. So what were you doing prior to, and what led you to where you are now?
Oh my gosh. So before I got into coaching, I didn't even know coaching existed before I started in 2005. So what happened was I was in the software development industry, and I was developing software, designing systems, writing code. So definitely consider myself a computer geek. And I love doing that because it's like puzzle solving. So you get to, figure out how to make things work. I just really loved it. However, for about 10 years while I was doing that, I knew there was something else calling me. I knew that I was supposed to be doing something else. I didn't know what it was. Clearly, I didn't even know coaching existed. So I started, voraciously reading books, going to seminars, taking different certifications in different avenues. Like I became a certified spiritual counselor, and I mean, just all kinds of things to personal development. Like, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And I get it, and I do it, and I practice it for a little while, and I go, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And then one day, this was in 2005, I was at my computer because I was always at my computer, and I stumbled on coaching, and I went, I think this might be it. And so I got really involved. I went and got trained up in Canada, and I just like, yes, this is what I'm meant to do. And a year later, I was like, okay, we need a system of coaching because I'm a geek and I do systems. So if we have a system of coaching, then we can teach people how to coach and do it. Like if you go with one organization, they want you to do 120 hours of training. I'm like, coaching, we're asking questions. This isn't hard. So I don't understand 120 hours of learning to ask questions. So I developed a system. The system's been proven to work over the years. And it's, what I love to do now is teach people how to use the system to help people have a transformation and get to live a life that they love. So
that puzzle solving in your geek world,
yes,
really converted to puzzle solving, coming into the coaching arena and saying, this is great, but there's something that's missing and it doesn't make sense. And how do I fix it?
That was exactly my thinking. It's like, okay, something's off. It doesn't, not adding up. So yeah, that was exactly.
And what triggered that for you? What were you finding as you were training to be a coach yourself? What really brought that to your attention, do you think?
Well, first of all, it was the price, because it was super expensive to get trained. And I'm like, you know what? This technique of coaching people and helping them live a life they love is so valuable. However, if you're charging exorbitant amounts for somebody to get trained, then you're limiting the number of people that can get out there and be of service like that. So that was another thing. It's like, okay, and I got it. The reason why they have to charge so much is because they take 120 hours. It's like, okay, well, you got to charge for your 120 hours, So anyway, developing a training system so that people could get it right away, and then developing the coaching system that's been proven to work meant that I could charge a fraction of what they charge to get somebody trained. I could do it in a fraction of the time. And then, it's like, okay, so I think in the beginning it was, well, is this really going to work? And then over the years, it's like, yeah, it's been proven to work. I got followed by an independent research company that went, oh, this works. This is really good. We're going to use your curriculum for our university graduate level course on leadership. I went, fabulous. So yeah, so there was a big gap when I first got into coaching, and it was so long ago that people would go, "What's life coaching? Is that like soccer coaching? Is it the same kind of thing?" I'm like, oh wow. So I had to do a lot of explaining about what life coaching was back in the day. Now people
I don't even remember, back in 2005. I remember back in 2005, but I don't even remember using the term coach and personal development together.
Right.
You went to therapy. That was different. I know that's different, but that's
Yeah.
really the only piece that I was ever exposed to back then.
Right. And so there was a lot of explaining when I tell people what I do. They'd like, "What's that?" So it's for many years telling people what it was, and now thankfully it's like well known. Oh,
so what is the recertification process? Well, don't answer that. Let me rephrase that. So have you noticed that your process has changed over time, or did it really develop solidly and then you've expanded on that?
Great question. So in the beginning, the methodology was really solid, but what has improved over time quite, I'll say significantly, is a couple of things. One, I have a process to help reprogram people's subconscious mind. And to do that, it requires, or used to require, a creative writing expertise. If you weren't really good at that, then it was difficult for you to create that piece of it. I created a template, and it's like a game changer. It's here, hey, take the answers here, pop them over here, just write it as if it's already done and you're done. So that's improved. And that didn't happen until 2019. So that, it's like, wow, I'm like, thank goodness that happened. And then just recently, in fact, yesterday, I was improving the marketing part, because a lot of people come to the training now, they know how to coach, and they really struggle with, and I found this is true for people in the helping professions, people that are heart-centered. It's like, okay, now you got to turn around and market yourself, and they're like, but I don't like sales. I don't like to do that, So I've spent a lot of time putting together, here's what you do. It's like, here's the first step. You got to develop an elevator pitch. The next step is you got to create your package. What does your package look like? What should be included in it? How many packages should you have? And how much should you charge for those packages? So I just had to lay it all out step by step. And fortunately, I was able to do that. So yeah.
And so what is your certification process like?
So I have a 16-hour course, and in the course, you again learn the whole system of coaching. In fact, you get to experience the system of coaching as a coach and as a client, because I have a really difficult time communicating how powerful the coaching system is. But if you experience it, you get it. It's a solid, okay, I got this. It's powerful, and I know I can do this, and I know I can provide transformation, and people are going to love what I do with them. So it's something, it's a feel good, and it's really, until you have it, you don't know. So the process is going through 3 coaching sessions in class. We learn a lot of skills and tools to get to the point where you're going through those 3 coaching sessions. And then there is homework. The homework is what I talked, that creative writing process, only it's not as hard as it was. And once the homework's turned in, on the last day or the last section of the class, there is an exam. So you turn in the homework, you turn in the exam, which is open book, because, hey, this is coaching. It's not that hard. So open book exam. And then they earn from that a certificate of professional coaching from Wainwright Global. And if they want to earn the credential, there's a CPC credential, which is owned by Wainwright Global, but I gifted it to Strategic Learning Alliance. Strategic Learning Alliance is our third-party accrediting body, and they monitor earning that credential, or the right or the privilege to use that credential after their name. And so that's Strategic Learning's piece. In order to earn that, there's 2 assessments that they want you to take and write a reflection on what you learned about it. And they're coaching tools, of course. So once that's done, then they've earned the right to get that CPC credential.
And so that's fantastic. And that really helps streamline the process, number one.
Yes.
And also provide a consistent output.
Yes.
also. So
Yes.
that output being coaches that have the tools and that helps breed confidence. So do you find, and I think that this might be the result of this the training and the certification process that your clients go through, or your learning coaches go through, but is there a transition? So you have a coach that's transitioning from a career to
Yes.
becoming to their new career. There has to be, or in your experience, do you find that there is this self-confidence hurdle that has to be gone through to say, yes, I'm a life coach
Yes.
day
There is.
one?
Okay, so this is the thing. Part of my coaching system is helping to reprogram the subconscious mind. Why would you need to do that? Because most people don't change and can't grow, can't get out of the old and go to the new, because it takes them out of their comfort zone. So if you're getting pulled out of your comfort zone, there's inner resistance to making that happen. There's self-sabotage, there's anxiety, there's fear, there's stress. It's like, oh God, can I do this? Right. So part of the coaching system, and this is another thing that I think is great, is in the class, they get to experience that reprogramming of the subconscious mind, and they get a vision statement. They get to imagine themselves being successful as a coach over and over and over again, so that when they get ready to go do it, they've done it already. In fact, they've done it in class, so they have the actual experience of doing it, but they've already done it in their mind's eye as well, over and over. So there's that inner resistance just drops away, and they can go do it and have that success. And, it's funny, but I love to share that about 50% of the people that come to the class, they come because they're learning to be a certified professional coach. And in their vision statement, where they're telling us what they want to do over the next year, half the time it's not, I want to build this amazing coaching business, which is always like, wow, okay. Half the time it is, but half the time it's not. Half the time it's, wow, what I really want to do is travel, or I really want to write a book. I've had this book in my, so it's, you don't know what's going to happen. It's very interesting. I think that a lot of times we're just so busy doing our daily thing, the daily grind. Get up, go to work, come home, do dinner, do the groceries, do the whole, get out, do some nature. But I mean, we're so into the daily routine that people haven't taken the time to sit down and go, wow, what do I really want to do? What difference do I really want to make in the world? 5 years from now, what do I want to say that I've accomplished? And when we get them in class and we say, first, take a deep breath. And I just want you to take a minute and go into your heart and, answer the question, what is it that you really want to experience in terms of your professional career? And then what they come up with is, a lot of different things. Like I said, half the time it's not, well, I want to build this great coaching business. So it's very interesting. Coaching is so interesting because you just never know where the client, it's all a client-based business, but you never know where the client is going to lead you on that journey.
Wow, that's amazing. And going through that self-transformation is going to make them a stronger coach, but also it might redirect their focus totally differently than they originally thought.
Yes, exactly. I had a gal last weekend. She wants to work with young women who have 5 years of business so that she can help them advance their career. And she's in Ghana, Africa. I love that this is an international thing. Anyway, so she is going to be a coach for young women that want to advance their career. And I thought that was really cool. But when we talked about all the possibilities for her as a career coach and how she's working in an IT department. So she's working in IT and managing teams. I'm like, well, you could get out of that company and start your own career coaching company and work with young women and form mastermind groups and have group coaching. And just when she heard all that, she was just like, wow, I could do all of that, I could quit my job. I could, all of that. So the opportunities for coaches is huge, it's, and it's so rewarding. That's the other thing. Yeah.
Do you find that what types of people that are career, what careers are people in when they're coming to you? Is there some categories that seem consistent, or is it really across the board?
It is kind of across the board, but there are a lot of like a repeat. So I get a lot of ministers, reverends, and they have a bunch of different names, right? Pastors, could go on. But so people coming, they want to be able to work with people in the secular community. And as a pastor, I guess they feel they are getting barriers. So they're learning coaching skills, and now they can call themselves a life coach, and then they can coach anybody. Therapists, okay, therapists. When you become a therapist, depending on the state that you got licensed in, if you move, you have to go through the whole relicensing process, which can take up to 4 years. Like, oh my goodness. So therapists come so that they can do their work as a coach anywhere. So,
okay.
and they can, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they can move their business more virtually as well in that standpoint.
Yes. In fact, that was another student in the class last weekend was a therapist, and she was so thrilled. I go, yeah, you can go back to all your clients that were done with therapy and coach them now. She went, oh my God, that just opens up all kinds of doors for me. So yeah, because when you're done with therapy, you're ready for coaching,
So can we dive into that for just a quick second?
Sure.
So the difference between a therapist and a coach?
Yeah. So therapy is really focused on what happened, and working through that. So it's kind of looking at the past and saying what happened. Coaching is looking at the future and going, hey, what do you want to happen? So it's the past and the future. That I think is the main difference. In therapy, you're going to be providing coping skills too as a therapist. It's not, we don't do that as a coach. We're just really, how can we keep you motivated to do what it is that's in your heart to do?
I like that, the forward thinking process and the help that comes along with that.
Yeah. It's very, very rewarding is all I got to say about that. So that's ministers and therapists. And then another group that comes are people that are, I'll say, metaphysical, spiritual healers, because they want to add a new tool to their belt. So now they can be a Reiki master, and they can also do life coaching. So that's another group. And I think the last group that I have coming is really people that are transitioning. They've done their years in corporate. They don't want to retire and do nothing. They want to retire and make a difference. So they come and learn the skills of coaching. So now they can use let me think about it. You've done how many years of service?
So much experience.
You have all that wisdom, all that experience, that wealth of knowledge, and to just go, okay, I'm going to go sit at home or go out walking the mountains for the next 5 years and not talk to anybody. It's like, no, you want to make a difference in the world. I think it's like, that was really neat. I gave my 25 years or whatever it was to corporate. I'm ready to go in another direction and make a difference in the world and help, maybe help, somebody that was just like me, 40 years ago or whatever, 30 years ago. Now I can help them and give them hot tips so they can advance much faster than I did, because I didn't have that person in my life.
That's interesting. And so is life coaching really a broad term?
It is.
Okay.
Very broad.
How do you delineate that?
Because I have coaches that are coaching in over 52 coaching niches, because I'm teaching a system which can be applied to whatever genre of coaching you want to do. So let's say somebody wanted to be coached on their health. So the focus would be on health, instead of like life coaching would be, what do you want to do professionally, financially, in your relationships, and your health and wellness and your spirituality. It would be like everything combined. But if you were just wanting to lose 100 pounds, I mean, that's a significant objective. I'll say it's not something that's going to happen overnight, and you are going to need to keep motivated, because that's a big
It's
deal.
a process.
Yeah,
it's a very much of a roller coaster process.
Right. So you want a coach to keep you accountable, to keep you inspired, to keep you moving forward. And getting that vision statement like we teach, having them see themselves with the weight loss and see themselves having more energy and, feeling better and looking in the mirror and going, yeah, all of that. So that would be considered health coaching. And there's health coaching, there's financial coaching, career coaching, there's recovery coaching. So people that have experience with addiction. Now, I'd say we're not there to help them get clean and sober, but once they're clean and sober, hey, we can help you stay there and live a life that you absolutely love. It. I really enjoy working with people that have struggled with that, or like, okay, I'm over it, I'm ready to move on. Here's the thing that I've noticed with them is, I don't know if you're familiar with the neuroplasticity of the brain, but depending on the neuroplasticity in the brain, people can reprogram their subconscious mind super fast, or it could take 30 days. And the people that seem to be in recovery seem to have really good neuroplasticity, where you help them with it, read the vision statement to them that one day, the next thing you know, they're on fire and doing exactly what they said they wanted to do when they were telling us what it was in their heart. It's like brilliant. It's so brilliant. Yeah.
I think it's amazing that the platform that you created can support so many different genres of coaching and provide people with the skills to really embark on whatever they're most passionate about in helping others, but having such a great foundation of being able to ask questions and listen.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's how I approached when I first got into coaching. I went, wait a minute, all we're doing is asking questions. This isn't that hard, but how can we really help people change? Oh, we have to go to the subconscious mind, because that's where 90% of the day we're operating from the subconscious mind. Every time we go off and start to do something, it's our subconscious that's driving. Like when you go to like people going to the office, right? How do they get there? Sometimes they don't remember. Well, that's because their subconscious drove them there, So we're operating from that so much that if we have the subconscious mind in alignment with where our creative conscious mind wants to go, everything's going to happen smoother, faster. The right doors will open. We'll be attracting to us exactly what we need to keep moving forward.
And the creative conscience.
Yes. You've got your subconscious on the same path as your conscious creative mind, whatever it's in your heart. That I totally believe that we're all born with a divine purpose, that we're here and we're meant to do. There's something we're meant to gift back to the world. And finding out what that is, that's part of the questioning. Like, we don't know, we have to ask. So what is that inside of you that wants to be expressed? And then reprogramming the subconscious mind to be in alignment with that. It happens so naturally. And I just have so many stories I could share. I'll just share one, because this is really recent. I coached one of my daughter's friends. She told me she wanted to write a book. She's bipolar. She wanted to write a book, and she already knew the title. She goes, I want to call it Crazy Good. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Anyway, so in her vision statement, I wrote, you have already, your book is published. You've got it in your hands. You're looking at the cover. And a couple days ago, I was on Facebook, and there it is. She changed her cover photo to be her book and the box. She just received her box of books. So she wrote it,
fantastic.
got it published, and there it is. I'm like, that is so brilliant. That's the kind of stuff that just fires me up and makes me love what I do. I get to see people accomplishing what they thought was a dream. They didn't know they could really do it. Sure. And then there it is.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And that's empowering too, for both of you.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I probably get as much endorphin kickoff as they do.
And so there's many different ways that your certification program has been used. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it's been used for, I'd say, just for people that want to be coaches, but they're using it to coach in whatever genre they're passionate about. And so there's over 50 coaching niches that they're off in, and it's like academic coaching. I mean, it's just, the list goes on. Yeah.
And you talked about the leadership training though. So tell me about that.
Okay, so that's how the curriculum got accredited at the university graduate level. It was through Seattle Pacific University. I flew up to Seattle, and well, first they had to get the curriculum accredited. That happened. And then I flew up to Seattle and I taught employees at Boeing. And there were some other groups that ended up, I went up there several times. So other groups that came from Starbucks and Amazon and that kind of thing. Because gosh, Seattle's just a hotbed of burgeoning companies up there, right? So I had the opportunity to teach quite a few people in the human resources departments. I taught the University of Washington. I taught their human resource professionals up there. So yeah, it's been used in a lot of different coaching niches, and the leadership training, the coaching part was part of the leadership training through Seattle Pacific University. So I at this moment don't have a leadership training that I'm I'll say promoting but that is like the next thing that I want to do. It's like, it's funny that you brought that up, because it's like, it's in the back of my mind going, that's my next step. That's what I'm going to do next. But I just haven't gotten there yet.
I felt it.
Yeah, right. That's going to go on the list. Every time I get something on my it's going to happen list, it happens. And then I got to go, okay, so what's next? And that's it. That's the leadership thing. So.
And so your process or your clients are global.
Yes.
And is it all are in other languages, or?
Well, I do have, okay, so originally it's in Iran, right? I think that's how you say it properly. I used to say Iran. I was like, no, it's Iran. That's Iran. So Iran, I have it was translated for them. I think it's Farsi. And then, so I have another gal that teaches that. Of course, I don't can't even say the name of the country. And then I have it in Spanish, and I have a couple of women that are brilliant at teaching it in Spanish because that's their primary language. And then it was also translated into Russian. So,
oh wow,
a few languages there. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so could you have imagined that this would be where things would land?
Not when I first started. Here's the thing. I watched companies grow being in software and having that my background and building applications and watching companies grow because we're providing software that can help them grow. And I knew it's like when you got on a software project, it was like a 2-year endeavor, so you knew that it was a big, long process to help develop the software and make the company grow and everything. So, when I first started, I just kept thinking to myself, I know this is not an overnight journey. This is a long journey. And I just will keep building. And that's what I've done. I've kept building. So that's why I have, the relationship coaching training. I have the recovery coaching training, spiritual coaching training, and I have health and wellness training. And I have negotiations training. So I'm just keep building on that foundation of the core system, which is what it started with. Yeah.
And how much you have grown over time?
Yeah, tremendously. Okay, so from computer geek,
yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh, to owning my own company. And I'll say when I first started, I think the area that I've grown the most in is I was a workaholic. I put in, as a consultant, I was working 80-hour weeks sometimes. And then I started building my own company, and I was still in that workaholic mode. So I was working 18-hour days. And at some point I went, I'm teaching people how to have a life, and I don't have one. It just doesn't seem right. So I had to put the brakes on, and it
becomes the do as I say, not as I do thing, right?
don't do what I'm doing, because it's really terrible. I don't have a life. So I put the brakes on the advertising. I started working by referral only, which slowed down the number of students that came through. But I started to have a life. And so I spent the last, I've been working by referral for 11 years now. Wow. So for 11 years, during that time, I figured out how to have a life. I met my happily forever after. And I am really seriously the happiest I've ever been in my life with my work-life balance. Yeah.
And how important that is.
So important. I mean, when you're so tunnel vision, like I was just tunnel vision on getting this business going and ramping it up, and we're teaching, and we grew, and we trained like 900 people in 1 year, and just, I had to hire help, and it's just like there was so much going on. Now I look at it and I go, dang, but I'm so glad that I had my aha moment.
Mhm.
I'm not having a life here. I love that question that I've heard asked, which is, so when you die, or when you're about to die, you're on your deathbed, are you going to say, I wish I'd spent more time at that computer?
Mhm. Mhm.
Probably not. And so today I'm happy to say that I'm not at my computer all the time like I was. I get to have time with my grandson and my significant other, and I'm living, and I live in Newport Beach, California, which is gorgeous. The
Mhm.
beaches are gorgeous, the weather's gorgeous, the location is beautiful. I just feel so blessed right now to be having that work-life balance and really enjoying and living life to the fullest, as opposed to being at my computer all day.
And what does that look like for you? What is the self-care for you?
So the self-care for me is I say, first of all, meditation. I think meditation is really key, because it really helps you get in tune with your body. I mean, body, mind, and spirit. Truly, it helps you calm the mind. It helps you nurture and nourish the spirit. And if you are in a physical need, it will help you heal the body too. That meditation is like so good. So meditation, and then I love getting out for walks, which I'm planning to do very soon. I have a nature trail behind where I live, so it has a creek, and there's crawdads, and there's turtles, and there's ducks, and there's egrets, and it's just full of life down there. So I love walking that trail and going by the little waterfalls and the creek, and oh my gosh, that nurtures my soul too. And then of course there's the jacuzzi. Get out and swim and do some exercise like that. So truly getting out in nature is it's healing for the soul. Healing for the soul. And fortunately my grandson lives to do all of that too.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's awesome. So there might even be times when you're just not feeling it, but he's tugging at you. So that changes everything.
It does.
But
It does. Yeah.
I think it's so important that as we, as people consider the career that they're in, and what their day or what their week or their month looks like, to be able to step back, as you've talked about, just to personally reassess.
Yes.
Is this serving me? Yes, it might be serving the paycheck, but is it serving me? And what can you do to figure out what's going to serve you better so that you can show up for others?
Absolutely. And I think there's a fear of taking that leap to going to do something that you're like, I have people that come to class, and the first time they hear their vision statement, because it's everything that they've wanted, everything that's been in their heart, it's everything they've wanted to do, and they hear it and they just cry because they never gave themselves permission to do it.
Wow.
And they're hearing it and they're like, oh my God, this is me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yes. Give myself permission to go do this. But I think there's that fear that if I take that step, I won't be able to support my family. Or if I take that step, I don't know what my life is going to look like. And, my significant other might not like that if I go do this, So I think there's a lot of fear that holds people back from taking that leap. But here's the thing. I really believe that when we're showing up from that divine purpose place that's in our heart, that we've been gifted. Typically, we've been gifted with some talent, some purpose that we're meant to share with the world. And if you step into that, that's when doors open. The right people show up. The right opportunities come to your doorstep because you said, okay, yes, I'm going to do this.
Wow. That's powerful. I think that's where we're going to leave it.
Right.
Where are people able to find you?
Okay. The website is easy. It's lifecoachtrainingonline.com.
Fantastic. Barbara, it's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and your conversation today.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure being here with you. I really appreciate all you do to make a difference in the world. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening today. Today's show was sponsored by Seaside Solutions, my financial services company. As a business owner, it's easy to be pulled in many different directions, and often taking care of yourself plummets to the bottom of the list. For me, I find myself outside to reground. My time outdoors helps me manage my day more effectively and be more present for my clients. Through this, Discover Rising Tides was born. At Seaside Solutions, we truly believe that education is the foundation of financial wellness. Our primary focus is to provide guidance that is designed to help you achieve your long-term financial goals and visions. Working with a plan allows space for doing more things that you love, like being outside to make the inside better. If I can help you create or realign your plan, or if you would like to be added to my weekly newsletter, please let me know. This week's topic was 5 ways to set more achievable goals. Your referral means the big, beautiful world to me, and if I can help, please let me know. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.